Would you let 10% of the entire population of Mexico come live in the United States because they felt like it? Well, I've got a surprise for you if your answer is no. 10% of the entire Mexican population already resides here. And yes, they're here illegally. Over 70% of all illegal immigrants in the United States are from Mexico. I felt the need to object today after reading one too many articles where common sense and pragmatism are shelved in favor of political agendas and personal gain. On April 7th, 2011, ICE agents followed suspected illegal immigrants who were in the process of dropping off their children at a local Detroit charter school. ICE brought in several vans parking near the vicinity of the school. The school in question has a high percentage of immigrant families, according to the articles in the news. It was reported that several families who happened to be trapped in the school were thrown into a panic and were too terrified to leave the school grounds. Excuse me, but why am I supposed to feel sorry for these people? Who sees the police and hides in terror? Only the guilty in my experience. Perhaps the majority of the children and parents at the school aren't immigrants, but illegal immigrants. Could that possibly be the reason for their terror? Why are our tax dollars going to support the education of their children when our own children can't even afford to get into college or find jobs these days? What gives them the right to come to this country illegally and use our taxpayer-funded services? To top all of this insanity off, ICE has apologized for violating its own internal policies about arresting illegal immigrants near schools and has promised to review the actions that took place and look into possibly disciplining the agents involved. You know, as long as we continue to conduct our nation's internal affairs ass backwards, we will never be able to solve the problems that are facing us today. Are you sitting down? Because I've got a fun one for you. Our federal government has just agreed to settle a lawsuit with the family of a now deceased illegal immigrant who was denied medical treatment for cancer while in detention. The family was given, and get ready for this, a whopping $1.9 million. Let's take a moment and ask ourselves, what will happen to our country if every sick and terminally ill person on the planet realizes that by simply getting arrested in the United States, they will get free medical treatment for their expensive ailments that they could never afford on their own in their home countries? If they don't get those treatments, their families can sue and live happily ever after. Tell me, my fellow Americans, who among you would like $1.9 million? I know I sure would. But the hurt doesn't stop there. Even the poorest illegal immigrants have their hands in the American pocketbook. According to a new study from the Center of Immigration Studies, over 75% of immigrants from Mexico use some form of state welfare or aid. And in my opinion, that's probably a low number. You know, I could go on and on and on, but I think you get the idea. My question to you is, whose citizens are our elected officials interested in helping? Our people or the people of Mexico? So far, it doesn't appear to be us.